The last part to our final exam is Microsoft Word. We're going to focus on the following areas: formatting a letter, the mail merge concept, the table of contents, and the image capture. Okay, make sure we understand our spacing rules for formatting a letter. I'll talk about that. You have them in an example. You'll be able to use the computer just to make sure that they're right. And make sure we know the proper way to key in the date, the full month, space, the day, comma, space, and the year. Old rules used to say 2 spaces between the state and zip code, and 2 different groups go back and forth on that. For classroom purposes, we know there's 2 spaces after the state before the zip code and an inside address or on a label. Alright, for the spacing letters are parts of our letter. We have the letterhead, and then we have a single space with the current date. Okay, then we have a quadruple space before the inside address, a double space after the inside address, your salutation. We use punctuation, so there's a colon after the salutation, a double space. The body of the letter is single space with a double space between the paragraphs. After the last paragraph, there's a double space. You have your complimentary close, sincerely, comma, it's a quadruple space. We have the signature block, and we have your keyed name and single space with your title. As for classroom purposes, that's the format that we used. Okay, we didn't have a quiz in Word, so I'm expecting you to be able to identify the spacing rules of a business letter. Okay, for the mail merge concepts, remember, in the mail merge, there's 3 parts: the main document, the data source, and the merge itself. So the steps to do that: tools, mail merge. We talked about labels, and we only had time for the letter itself. But we know the concept of a form letter is to be able to send that same letter over and over again to the different individuals in a database, but yet personalizing it to each one of those individuals. Okay, make sure you know that the data source for classroom purposes is a table. It could be an Excel spreadsheet, an Access database. In Word, it's a table. Make sure you know how to edit your data. Okay, and we know the main document is where we place the fields. Okay, make sure we understand that when working on the mail merge proc, it's the main document, okay, not the data source. Okay, for our table of contents, we're taking from the marking of the styles in the body, your titles. Okay, we made that heading 1. Once we marked all our headings, we went to insert, reference, and index. It's reference, index, and tables. Okay, in table of contents, we just use the default. Okay, the F4 key repeats the previous task that we used, so when we marked our styles, we could just press F4 to mark each of your headings. Okay, once we generate the table of contents, it's F9 to update it, to make your changes. So when I ask you about keystrokes, I don't expect you to memorize all of them, but F4 to update, F9 to update, F4 to repeat the tasks. Okay, last thing, just so we know, I use this as most students know this, some do not, but where all these image captures come from in your screen, it's the print screen key in the keyboard. It copies to the clipboard, and then you can paste it into a Word document, a PowerPoint presentation, whatever it is. You use your cropping tool to crop anything that is not needed. Alright, and that gets us to our end of our exam. Again, 3 parts for the 3 different content areas: HTML, PowerPoint, and Word. 45 questions, some true and false, some matching, and some multiple choice.